I'm Alexandra Tavlidi, and I'm a musician, a composer. It's hard for me to say if I'm already a professional composer and professional musician, because I don't really understand where this state of professionalism begins. I'm a self-trained musician. I don't have a professional education, and everything that I've learned in music, I've learned it by myself, with help of teachers, of course, that I met along the way. There were a lot of teachers participating in me becoming a musician that have nothing to do with music. Those teachers would be some scientists, some important books that I read at a specific time, some pieces of art that I encountered with, or some important moments when I would randomly meet a person and hear a few words that would affect me for several years. Music first came into my life when I was a little kid. There was a small period when I went to music school. I think that was the first time I actually got the feeling of music. And I knew that I got the feeling not from what I felt while playing the violin. I knew that I got that feeling when I saw the photograph of me playing the violin at a concert, when I saw the expression on my face, when I knew that looking at the photograph, I knew that I felt every fiber of every sound that went through the violin and through my fingers and through me during the moment that I was playing it on stage. And that was, I think, the first really special moment that I had with music, when I realized that I feel something very special when I when I play with it. We're in Solnechnoye. This is one of my favorite places in the world. Whenever it was windy, my dad would say that let's go to Solnechnoye because there will be waves there. I grew up with the idea that the wind, cold weather and the waves is something magnificent, and if it's happening, you just have to go over and catch it. So we used to come over here to catch some waves. I come here for some silence when I want to be by myself, when I want to hear the sound of the water, or the sounds of nature, sounds of birds talking to each other, and just to spend some time listening to what's around and playing with the sound. One of my favorite things about being here is looking at the horizon. A friend of mine, she once told me that in some cultures, like Native American cultures, it's considered a very powerful practice just to look at a simple horizon, especially for women, that it does something through the sensory of that. It does something to the way that the woman feels just to look at the horizon. So that's why I love this place. if a person is lucky, then he finds his calling, his true calling. And if a person is super lucky, he also finds that the main mission is life itself. Every day, every simple thing that a person does, every simplest action, everyday action, is the meaning of life. To me, music is language of love, and it's also language of anything. It's a language of emotions, of true deep feelings. It's a language that a person doesn't need to know to be able to speak this language, because this is the language that person feels through the vibration that the music actually gives to anyone who is listening to it. To me, Unarthodox Element is something that is really hard to describe, but it's like the essence of a true art process. It's like when you cook something and you add some spice to it. How do you describe this spice? It just creates something that makes the whole thing come together. And Unorthodox Element to me is something like that, plus being able to step out of the rules and being able to feel art, any form of art, feel sensually, through skin, through ears, through eyes. There is no way, no proven way to actually discover the Unorthodox Element, and I think that everything that we experience when we learn something, when we get just day-to-day experience, when we interact with interesting people, when we go and visit new places, when we go and visit new countries, when we go and see some masterpieces. Almost every encounter with a piece of art, with a city, with a person, with anything, it leads in some way to discovering the unorthodox element in each person. I think that everybody has it inside of them.
Ведь что там будет же, вот-вот будет же. Без ожиданий бы, да отпустить бы все, не торопиться бы. Случится, пусть со мной, пусть с тобой. Весь этот опыт твой или мой. Глаза закрой.
For me, to be myself is to create moments of silence, because in those moments I can hear myself. Every person is emitting of the whole universe that's inside of a person with a whole other universe that's outside of a person. And by outside universe, I mean the planet, our friends, our countries. We are all part of some amazing universe, and we all are connected somehow, and we all interact with each other. And we really need to learn how to stay true to ourselves and how to hear what is outside. Somewhere between staying inside and listening to the outside, I think, are the answers to many, many questions.
Любить так здорово, здорово, здорово. Иди сюда скорей, здесь так тепло, и приводи семью. хватит всем, ты слышишь, хватит всем.